Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7 king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
And, oh, let's put on our bow tie because we are a professional penguin here. Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. FJ is a myth. If you say such a thing. Hey, Shadow. Hey, Sal once again. Hey, Arctic X9. Hey, Nova. Hey, Big Brady from the past. Just chilling today. It's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. Tomorrow I have to wake up at a bright and early 5 a.m. and like basically head straight to work. I'm going to be working at the specialized. Can't I see these games? Are there no live games? Well, there's going to be these. There's a special school that I like to call the paraeducator HQ, where the kids that are too I guess disruptive for classic school setup go. It's a really nice location. It's got a circular construction so that when you have to when kids have to take a break and go for a walk, they don't have to deal with corners and like anxiety around those. You just have a really long loop that you can walk to get energy out and stuff like that. But it'll be my first time ever going there to work rather than just going there to train. I need to be on my game. Your high school was a circle, sorta? Look at all games. I was saying see all active standard games. It said none. If I hit all, it'll show a bunch of. Oh, it's saying whoa. Oh, you're right. Now it does have games. That's weird. It broken. Outlook.com. Okay, so we've got standard Nell versus Hawk. We've got Sensei versus Eagle again. We've got Eagle versus Eagle. And then, I mean, I guess we'll have to watch this one though. It's Flack versus Grim. I heard that there was a change. Okay, Flack. Gonna be the Penguins? Oh, yeah. Now we're talking. I still use allhotmail.com as well. But sometimes it won't work. There's programs that like won't accept Hotmail as an email. That could be a problem. I just noticed that our Yellow Comet soldiers turn into Amber Blaze after they move. I feel like that might be a problem. Okay, there we go. You're back to being yellow comment. I don't know what happened there. Your mom still uses Hotmail? Ah, the Cobalt Ice troops changed back too. Stay, Cobalt Ice, dang you. Here we go. Traitors! Yeah, ridiculous. Excellent. I mean, that's also kind of an advantage to the circular setups. Inkagark, are you getting War Groove too? I mean, you have to. You promised we'd play. I don't know if it has a co-op campaign though. War Groove 1 had a co-op campaign, but only in its DLC. This center looks really deadly. You're getting War Groove 2 too? Nice. Yeah, no worries about that. Yeah. I was happy that they are doing the what'd you call it? I forget what it's called, where you buy it before it comes out. But they're doing it with, you get 20% discount. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm gonna get the game anyway, so I'll take that 20% discount. Pre-order, there you go. That's the only acceptable pre-order incentive, I think, is getting a discount, rather than the where they like try and give you some useless extra doodad. You already bought it for the discount. Hey, there, see? Yeah. The discount is like 100% what it should always be, because there's a risk to it, right? You're buying the game before it's fully out. So they get like guaranteed sales, but you've got a risk of maybe the game isn't that good. It's 100% off if you never actually end up playing it and not buying it. That's true. But it's interesting because it has its little discount right now, but it's priced the same as Wargroove 1 at full price. So right now Wargroove 2 costs less than Wargroove 1, which has got to be a rare situation. So Grim moving on in here. A tank per side. But nothing covering over here, so yeah, Flak gets a nice swing. Now, out of all of the tier 4 COs, Flak would love to fight Grim. Because Grim's got negative defense, and that makes Flak's luck attacks even better. If it goes to 90% off for Christmas. I don't know. I've started to refuse some 90% off games because I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's so cheap, I might as well buy it, and then I still don't ever play it. I was like, well, it wasn't super expensive, but it was still kind of a waste of money. No, luck's affected by defense. Luck just ignores unit matchup. Other than unit matchup, it works the same as any other damage. So if you're a regular infantry standing on this city, then you will take 30% less luck damage. But for Grim, he'll only take 10% less luck damage. on cities. Basically, the defense factors in after luck damage is already applied. Yeah, no worries. It's easy to figure this out. I have a pretty massive Steam library too, and I don't use it that much, so I just lend it out to friends with their family sharing thing. AC6. Is that Assassin's Creed 6? I haven't played an Assassin's Creed since, I think, the original. I just have a crippling Advanced Wars addiction. Oh, Armored Core 6. Oh. A Mariner Cup 6. I feel like this mech really should have taken one step back. So, because if the mech's on the city, it covers this infantry. Because this tank can only hit from here and here, and the mech will be able to step onto the forest and hit either spot. From here, neither of these mechs can actually cover this. You managed to get your backlog of games down to only 70 games? What do you mean by your backlog of games? Do you have 70 Advanced Wars games going on right now? On like alt accounts or something? Does that mean that Nell counters Grim? Oh, Steam games. Oh, that you haven't played. Oh. I used to be so much better at playing and finishing games. Now it's like, I'll play it till I'm done, then I'll move on with my life. But very good on you, Inkakark. Does that mean that Nell counters Grim with minus 20 defense boosting luck damage? Yeah. Well, Grim's pretty bad against Luxios. As were we all before we got jobs and more income than time. Yeah, that's how it goes. That is indeed how it goes. Oh, it feels so good when when a student underestimates my gaming abilities. They just don't know. They don't know what they get into. I'm an old penguin. The no-scoping penguin king, essentially. Penguin bullies children in video games. It's true. I still need to play Roblox though. I don't know what that is, but it's all the rage, apparently. My Minecraft parkour is okay. I was never super into Minecraft. And when I did play it, I would just make giant fractal structures in the sky. Roblox is kind of evil. Company's evil. Oh. I didn't know that. What's going on with this Roblox company? Okay, things are looking mighty good for Black. But Grim is so close to just taking the... Wait, is this single lab? No, it's 2 labs. Never mind. I was going to say so close to just taking this lab and winning, but no, there's 2 labs. Exploiting child labor as a business model? How is it? Well, I don't even know how the game works. Yeah, I changed the nations. I had to do it twice though. They kept going back. Yeah, now these guys are Cobalt Ice and Yellow Comet fighting it out. Among Us is also really popular. Fortnite is somehow still popular. Sometimes I feel like kids have no taste. But I think that's just me being an old penguin. Sometimes, yeah. It's child gambling. Children can do software development for it, which they get paid in pittance for while the owners make... Yeah, well, yeah. I gotcha. I remember when that kind of stuff was happening with like StarCraft and Warcraft, except in those cases, you know, it wasn't like a paid service. You know, you bought StarCraft and then you'd have access to the BattleNet and all of these like fan-made games. The same with like Dota though, for Warcraft 3. That became its own thing. Making games was better when they had to be burned to CDs/cartridges. The thing is, they still actually released unfinished games, but they were less buggy. But they would just be unfinished forever. Yeah, when Nintendo releases a DLC, that's literally part of the game they didn't finish yet. Or when they don't, with 3 houses. Okay, this is looking really good for Flak. All these like central cities being captured. They're all guarded by tanks. Got the tank first strike over here. It's covered by another tank. This doesn't really want to go in here. The hero/tower defenses, yeah. We're moving on in here. Should have attacked with the other infantry. Attack with your furthest infantry. This one can then step onto the city and strike, or you can start capturing, or go down here. Cat is being well behaved today. It is definitely a really bad mindset. I think it's not really... I don't know if it's so much the developers having the mindset, though, as, like, the publishers being like, they'll still sell as many copies. So, just deliver it now. It's probably a mixture, though. The patience I must have to spectate games. When you're watching live games and someone makes a mistake, it drives you up the wall. Well, you know, everyone starts somewhere. I mean, I'm sure watching my live games will drive you up the wall. I make so many mistakes. I'm sure it gives a lot of people anxiety too with the clock. I only give top players a hard time. I'm not gonna go after like a 900 and be like mistake. That's not gonna help them. It's not gonna really show anything. I'll go after like Starflash for sure. If Starflash is making mistakes, then I get to be like, what are you doing? And if I was making those same mistakes, I would expect Starflash to do the same. It's a different standard. Oof. Ouch. I mean, that is a grim tank on a shoal. You know, someone who semi-regularly has to train people, you find it's not about being, I mean, I'll still be nitpicky. Like, I'll be, like I was saying before with Grim and the mech, I'm like, well, the mech should really be here, it shouldn't be here, and this is why. But I'm not gonna, like, ostracize Grim over it. I'm like, I understand what happened, you wanted to be down here for, like, more room, but the mech should have been here so it was covering this infantry. That's more the approach with the non-top players. You don't want them, yeah, you definitely don't want them to develop bad habits. But if Starflash made that mistake, I would be going off. I don't know why Starflash has just suddenly become the stereotypical top player in my mind for some reason. I almost feel like, though, if I make that mistake, people are like, oh, that's just Go7 being Go7. So, you know, maybe I've managed to escape that. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Who's the real top player? Top players are people that are like in the top 5. And well, it's more like they're in the top 5 and have been in the top 5 for an extended period of time. Because it's fairly easy to get launched up there and then beaten back down. You just kind of get slingshotted up from a bunch of games in a row. This is very dicey for Grim, for sure. really the Grim against Flak is it's tough. But Flak's not a tier 4 CO. He's like tier 3.5. I did not. Well, I slung shot up and stayed up, but I've beaten down quite a few people that was been launched up. It's probably more like 15 games. Well, no, yeah, 20-ish, I guess. It depends on who you're fighting. If you're fighting if you're rank 1, you're fighting rank 2, then you'll get a decent number of points. Where do you find the list of all the top players? You find it in your head. No, well, it used to be there used to be a thing right here that's now gone. So if we go to the Global League, we can see the all-time top players. You have Inkagark, me, now Nightmare. I don't know who this is. Fordred, Shadower, Rip. You can do it by mode. The Starflash is currently the #1 standard all-time. Then Inkagark, and then Ant 13, Everdan, Lord Clefairy. I'm way down here at 13. I don't think I'm #1 in Fog anymore, right? Oh my god, I'm all the way down to number 6. How far I have fallen. High funds, yeah. In your heart. Ooh, I missed Grim attacking. Going for the lab, but it's gonna have to take both labs. I do like the attempt. For sure. So sad that this... I mean, I guess the artillery is pretty nice and that it covers this attack. Grim can reach some breakpoints. His copters can one-shot other copters. That's pretty nice. Ooh. That's a nice miss for Grim. Grim, or Flak has the advantage for sure. The luck damage is affected by defense. You might see this tank get two-shotted. Does Flak go for it? Tree on tank. Wah! This is where the mech chaining is really nice. I don't think I've... Well, it's not that my rating hasn't gone down, it just hasn't been going down. Ah, Flak chickened out! Oh no, the 8 went in, but the full health didn't. Oh no. Rest in peace. Well, Flak, So the way that it works is at the end of the damage calculation, it checks to see if your damage is negative and then zeros that. So you can underflow to do damage, but only if your opponent is giving you a negative attribute for how much defense they have. So if they have over 100% extra defense, then they will be causing you to go negative, and then you'll have, if you're already doing negative damage, you'll have a negative times a negative, and that will make it a positive. And so at the very end, you'll do positive damage, and it in that case you will have essentially underflowed. But that only works if you're doing negative damage and then they have just a ton of defense. If you just do negative damage and they have regular defense, then at the end it will recognize that you're doing negative damage and zero that out. If that made sense. Here, I can show you. So, blue mega tank, and we'll be Jugger. So, so Jugger right now is 0 to 85, and you'll notice it's not going to say how much negative damage you're doing, although it's going to be quite a lot. Yeah, I think it's a fair designation. But quite a lot of negative damage for an infantry is a mega tank. But if we give Javier 20 comm towers, you can see here now when you hit your negative on the low roll, I turned evil. When you hit your low roll, you're going to do positive damage. But if you go your high roll, you'll do 0. That's because on your low roll, you're doing negative damage, and then that's getting multiplied by this excessive defense that Javier has, which would be multiplying another negative. So negative times a negative is going to equal a positive, and that doesn't get zeroed out because at the end of the calculation it's positive. But if we're looking at your positive damage, it goes against that high defense. So a positive times a negative becomes a negative, and it gets zeroed out at the end. I mean, if you give them even more comm towers, you can get it too. But if we just say like 9 while you're on planes, now you'll always do 0 damage. Only 2 games actually. They both have a Nell. They're both Nell versus Sasha. Sure, we can watch other Barry who's already playing full life. Yellow comment. It can actually come up in a real game. So if you were Jugger and Javier has a mega tank on an HQ and pops his super, and you're Jugger and he's only got 1 comm tower, and you're Jugger with an artillery and you pop your super, then you can do damage to the mega tank because of his excessive indirect defense. You can do damage with your min roll. So this could actually happen in a real match. It only takes 1 comm tower. The mega tank has to be on an HQ. You both have the super. It could happen. It could matter. You're going to do less damage. Of course, it's kind of funny. So normally, of course, when the unit goes down in health, you do more and more damage. But in this case, as the unit goes down in health, you'll do less and less damage because it's losing defense from the terrain stars. So as the Mega Tank goes down in health, it becomes harder and harder to kill. So many accidental apples, yeah. No, it's because you're doing the way that damage calcs works is it takes all of your damage gets calculated together, and then that's a number, and that gets multiplied by their defense, like their defensive stat, and then that gives you your outcome damage. So if your incoming damage is negative and they have a really high defense, then they'll be multiplying. The multiplication will be a negative number, and you'll have a negative times a negative will equal a positive. You can kind of, like, the defense is essentially, it's not exactly this calculation, but it's essentially 1 minus the defense by, like, 1 minus 0.4 if you're on a mountain. So you'd be timesing by 0.6. So 60% damage goes through. So you need a defense over 100%, yeah. Once your defense is over 100%, then it's multiplied by a negative number. And this doesn't work in the cartridges. This is an Advanced Wars by Web only thing. Just because in the cartridges, what they do is they have the attack and the defense as separate variables that they check as they're created. So if they detect that the attack variable is negative, they'll zero that out. Same with the defense. So you'll never go in negative times negative equals positive. The only difference is that Advanced Wars by Web checks at the very end of the calculation whether or not the damage is negative, the overall damage. And the cartridges check the individual incoming variables. And for the most part, it doesn't matter. Does Nell go for lots of infantry and recons for how to Nell? I do like using a lot of infantry and recons as Nell. I mean, if you can get away with it. And then for the Lexios, it's often very nice to go for big vehicles as well on top of that, so that your opponent's kind of forced to go for big vehicles, and then the idea is that you can luck down their big vehicles and they can't do the same to you. I feel like this attack is going to happen. Like, it's going to be this hits here, this hits here. I don't actually know quite what other berries I'm waiting for here. Seems like the only. Hit refresh just to make sure I didn't miss it. Yeah, so Nell will definitely get that normal power against Sasha. It's kind of impossible for Sasha to stop a 3-star from going through. It's going to be up to Sasha. So when Sasha's dealing with someone with a shorter power bar, then it becomes deciding when it goes through, not trying to stop it from there. smack. It happens. Quite the attack coming in here. We do have the comm tower for now. Sasha does have more properties though, which is very nice for Sasha. Already has an anti-air ready to do it. Smackety. Seems like a good smack. Building units before market crash is a horrible feeling. I don't know if there's a worse one. Maybe hitting the Hawk super before your opponent. But like not realizing how bad that is until you pass the turn and then they hit their super and heal off all your damage and you're left with the damage. That feels pretty bad. The way I would use it is I would essentially use the +10/+10. Well, the way I tend to use it is I use the +10/+10 for mostly the infantry engagements. Just because I get so little charge to the opponent, and I let the vehicles fight it out. As is. Yeah, it's not going to finish the comm tower capture. I understand what you mean. And the reason I wouldn't normally, in this case, it seems like it was fine, like kind of drained as much as possible. But yeah, I normally wouldn't use the +10/+10 for vehicle engagements unless I really needed it, because I don't want to give my opponent. You only spent over 60k funds before buying. I think you mean before power. Yeah, as Sasha, your game against Advanced Warrior. That's a lot. That's a lot to buy. We might see a join cap on this comm tower. We might see this infantry like go here, hit here, and this guy hit here. Probably not great to do that move though, because that gives this infantry a target that doesn't have a target right now. Just gain a target. Ooh, I wouldn't preserve the 5 health. No, maybe I would. I guess this is okay. If you're going to attack here rather than continue. Okay. You did it twice? I mean, once is definitely forgivable, but twice? How do you forget a moment like that? You feel like a very advanced sixth sense the higher level players have is knowing when to back off with an RD opposed to staying in a fight and firing. Yeah, I think that does just kind of come a bit with experience. And on the flip side, there's also the part where it's like knowing when to just attack into the artillery. But you did talk about it. I need to fire to justify the losses I took for the wall. Well, once you've... I feel like the tactics in Advanced Wars by Web is something that most people learn really quickly. And it's like the first step to becoming higher rated, I guess. So usually you'll be able to tell when it's going to work out tactically. It's always going to be the strategy that can mess with people. Because strategy is really hard to read from your opponent. So strategy is kind of like why you're doing things. Your end goal, and the tactics is how you're doing it. It's better to be better at one mode than the other. I was definitely better at Fog, but I actually only played Fog for a long time. So that would make sense for me. RD tactics are the most advanced tactics of them all? I think sacrifices are the most advanced, personally. You like to think you're better at standard than Fog? Well, but you've yet to lose a Fog game and lost 2 standard games. It depends on what level of Fog and standard you're playing there. You definitely have more freedom in Fog. There's a very wide variety of openings in Fog. And there's a pretty wide variety that you can do in standard, but you can only do them when you're like really, really good at standard. Because the difference between an opening that just dies and an opening that gives you like a winning advantage in 15 turns is like a razor's edge. And that's the kind of I guess nuance that you have to go for with wacky standard openings. Is you're like, I'm going to give up a huge advantage in the early game in order to have something in the late game. But if you just end up giving up a huge advantage in the early game and then dying, then you never made it to the late game. Breaks can be memorized. They can be memorized, but they're really, really hard to see. Parties are pretty complex. A brawl going on here. They're so much more comfortable and welcoming. You know, they fight just like infantry versus infantry, except they move faster. You had no chat? You should at least have been able to see it in the video, I hope. You're strong when you can stall in fog. I feel like it's a lot harder to stall in fog than it is. Artillery are also a lot better in standard than they are, which is something I feel like feels incredibly counterintuitive. But that just comes down to the maps. Like if you play the standard maps in fog, then artilleries would be absolutely insane. I was not confusing tactics with strategy. What are you talking about? Unless I was misspeaking. Tactics are like the how. That's like what you're doing. And the strategies like the why. Some standard maps are pretty good. I can say that. For example, Stacks of Terror. Great map. Or Fog. The calm tower capture. We have such little action on this side of the map. Yeah, the strategy is why you're doing things. Tactics is the how you're doing it. There's big picture and there's small picture. Well, I don't know if it's small picture, focused picture. Yeah, you could. I don't know if you would just say good tactics, but you would say my strategy is to gain a winning position by having a greater unit count. I'm going to get that greater unit count by implementing, 2-hit KOs and then covering my units well. That's my tactical approach. Low funds is not super fun. Could it be fun? Maybe with the right map. Not quite macro like that. If you're talking about it in the way of like StarCraft, where macro is your like economy and micro is moving units around. But the micro is pretty similar to tactics. Yeah, Fluffy, that would make sense. Yeah, Fluffy can take tactical victories, killing units at an amazing value ratio, but when you look at the strategic losses of losing the contested properties, yeah, that can happen like that. For instance, if the strategy for one person is to offer up like losing trades in order to make the opponent's army move away so that they can then swoop in and take the cities and win with an economic victory, That could be, for example, a strategy that's not really using a tactic so much as just general tactics, I guess, of your opponent wanting to get favorable trades on you or use tactics against you. I mean, technically just moving units is a tactic, I guess. But usually when we're talking about tactics, we're talking about unit combinations and stuff like that. Of like, copter plus tank kills tank, and you go copter first so you take less retaliation. That's a tactic. Two tanks with 20% firepower can one-shot a tank on a city guaranteed. That's a tactic, that kind of thing. Yeah, Wargroove 2 comes out this Thursday. Strategy is more like, I plan to overrun their weak side and use Drake's super to clear and capture the factory. Yeah. That would be a very general strategy. It would still be prime tactics. The actual fighting that you're doing, that's tactics. Strategy is really, really hard to see from here. It's very easy to see tactics, both when they're being implemented and how they, like, when they'll be implemented. It's very difficult to see your opponent's strategy. If you know your opponent's strategy, you will usually win because you can just, do a counter strategy. If their strategy is, I'm going to, like, step one, I need to get my comm tower. And then suddenly you're like, well, I'll just force my opponent to pay a lot to get their comm tower. Then, you've developed a counter strategy. And that tends to just kind of win the game. Unless your opponent adapts. Ooh, you have a sacrifice to get Nell's normal power. So you don't need a strategy until you get to the higher levels. Yeah, in Fog, if you know their strategy, you will win. Pretty much, period. Pretty much in the early ranks, you do not need a strategy. You just go like, oh, look, I see a tactical engagement. I'm going to go for it. I mean, you technically have a strategy. It's usually like, I charge the opponent. My units move towards my opponent's units. I plan to win this way. Yeah. Until your opponents are implementing creative strategies, you don't really need a strategy. If you don't have a strategy and your opponent has a good strategy, you will die. You'll be like, I don't understand. All of my engagements were tactically sound, and then I lost the game. Like, if you look at my live game against Content did not have, I don't think any, well, there was towards the end there were some bad tactical engagements, but for the most part there was very successful tactical engagements. And my strategy didn't always work, for sure. Ooh, Otherberry really wanted to get that comm tower. Failed the luck roll. But it was like, I'm going to disrupt Conton's comm tower. I'm going to get a Neo Tank advantage, and I'm going to transition that Neo Tank advantage to an air battle, which once I win that, the game will just be over because I'll have Neo Tank advantage and air control. And as long as I can maintain an economic advantage due to the early APC, I will. That's like a trifecta. I'll just win the game. By letting Content get the early Neo Tank attacks, like it took me a while to respond to the Neo Tank. That's fine. I just need to draw it in closer to my base, so I can build a Neo Tank later and still get the attacks in. By letting it go for some early attacks against my tanks that went in for some disruption, I get a power advantage, and that should let me get the first super like throughout the entire game. Yeah, there were some low rolls there, but that's what I'm saying. Nell, she's a heartbreaker. She just lies to you. Ooh, I can see this, but I can't watch it. We got Sturm versus Grit. Fog of War. No, they're both fog games. I had a game in the Poland. I had a strategy in the Poland game. I always have a strategy. That's what I'm known. One of the things I'm known for. This is the all, yeah. It's just 2 fog games. Pretend to not have copters and overload them with copters. That's true. That's true. Everyone. That's very true. I'm just putting too much expectations on Nell. Of course she'll fail under all that pressure. You can usually tell when I'm playing the live games, you can usually tell what my strategy is because I'll make comments whenever my opponent doesn't respond to the strategy. I'll be like, Oscars, what are you doing? I can see your game. We've got Sammy versus Cole in the fog. I guess I could try and friend both of them and then have them share the vision, but then it also gets really glitchy. Yeah, this is... Oh my gosh. Hawk versus Olaf. It's a rough matchup for sure. Hey, yeah. Daisy, that was my strategy I came to because I was so bad with giving up copters and fog. I was like, you know what? I'm just not gonna build copters, and they're gonna build anti-airs, and I'm gonna have tanks. And I'll win from that. And it was pretty successful. Here we go. Got Atomic Goat versus Jernell. Make you yell comments so you guys are facing each other. I guess actually you're fine. You're fine to be good. Well, you always want at least an anti-air. They don't know I'm never going to build copters. Yeah, not building infantry would be a very sus strategy, for sure. So yeah, what Tordred started running into is that people would counter his strategy. So his strategy early on, Tordred's strategy was, I'm just going to build a ton of tanks and win, overwhelm my opponent through that. And people are like, well, if that's his strategy, I'm just going to do copters first and stuff like that. And that's something that's going to happen to you if you're climbing the ranks, is you're going to have one strategy. You'll have one strategy, you'll perfect it, and you'll be like, wow, this is amazing, this strategy works so well. And then once you've established yourself as like a high-ranked player that does that thing, people will take note and they will develop counter strategies, and then suddenly you have to be able to make more than one type of strategy. And I think once you can make more than one type of strategy, that might be like the hallmark of a top player. You're a big Tordred fanboy? You just want to spam copters and win. You will, you can definitely spam copters and win. You just gotta, if you always spam copters and win, you won't always win. In fact, you'll probably start always losing. That's what the chill streams are all about. I just talk with you guys. We watch live games. Tordred's definitely gotten a lot better than he was. And you can just pre-counter their counter. Kinda. The problem is you have to research all of your opponents to do that kind of thing. But they just have to research you. Javier could go for the second comm tower gambit. I think that's probably the plan. Oh yeah, people definitely expect me to go transport. But it's a lot harder to punish transport openings than it looks. Like, a lot harder. Because if I go a transport opening and you kill one infantry, that doesn't actually put me behind. Because like you had to build that recon. That recon kind of puts you behind an infantry. If I build a transport copter, that doesn't really count hurt my infantry count. So if I lose one infantry, like a recon opener, that kind of just puts us even in economy for the very start. And then the transport still ends up putting in value in the long term. So you have to do like quite a bit of damage to make the transport openings not feasible. Or punished, I guess. We'll see. The problem that Javier here has here is there's only one infantry over here. So if it's used to interrupt this comm tower capture, it's not going to be able to capture that comm tower. So it's probably best to just let it go and try and take it later. Ah, yeah, I don't like that move. There's no follow-up infantry for Javier here. And disrupting Von Bolt's comm tower capture, I don't think matters. This is basically just going to cost Javier the income that he got from the city, and he's going to start losing tanks. You can tell he's overextended because this takes him 2 turns to reach this spot, and it takes Von Bolt a single turn. And every time you move a turn closer to your opponent's base, that is effectively giving them 1 more tank to the fight and subtracting 1 of your tanks from the fight. So it's a huge shift. It's a double whammy. You have 1 less tank because it takes another turn to get there, and they have 1 more tank because it takes them 1 less turn to get there. Overextending is a double dipping affair, and it's very painful. They also get the advantage of, if they're this close to the base, they can just like also end any fight by producing a medium tank. That was probably a misplay. I think you should strike here and finish off the tank. Although if both the infantries can kill the tank, ooh, it doesn't get it. That would have also been pretty good. I think getting away at 1 health would be very good for Javier. Although it'd be a lot better in fog than in standard. It's way easier in fog to run away with a unit because the fog protects you. In standard, you have to have a whole bunch of stuff protecting that injured unit, otherwise it just gets wrecked. That's a really sketchy attack. So it's like a 7/7 trade. But this is on a C, so it's going to heal up to 9. It's almost like doing no damage. We'll take 3. Although it will mess with the income. I mean, it doesn't really... I guess it stops tank artillery infantry. So this is still an overextension. Because Von Bolt reaches this tile to hit this tank in 1 turn. Javier still takes 2 turns to make it to this. There's no way to save this tank, but I don't know if Von Bolt even wants to go for it. Well, I guess it's kind of saved. If a tank's built here, it will cover this tank from this spot. Definitely agree with Javier attacking it here. Might want to just bring this guy over. This is kind of attack artillery covers. We'll see. Might just be fine. Okay, so we did have the tank built here. This one health infantry, or not infantry, tank's pretty safe. Yeah, but this one's... Then Mumble can like tank and infantry and well, I would have gone for the comm tower. This would hit here. Okay. Although it can also just smack from here. This is also a nice spot to attack from. Whoa. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overextension now from Von Bolt against Javier, because that essentially gives this tank on the base a target. Okay, so it's kind of giving a tank first strike in exchange to kill a 1 health tank. I'd much rather hit this full health infantry from the city to be primed to repair, while also being outside of this tank's range. Even out of this tank's range. Oh, this one's... This might actually, because it's a return overextension, it could end up losing Bumble this fight. Oof. Yeah, especially when infantry is built here instead of a tank. Because now what happens is this tank hits this tank hits from over here. There's not going to be any follow-up reinforcements. But I think the comm tower will still go to Bumbolt. I guess this tank will hit from here. Or it can hit from here, it doesn't matter, there's no tank at this place. Yeah, tank's going to be forced to stop this capture. A little awkward. Ooh, this capture just was let through. It's a little weird. The base swap. I guess it is double base airport versus single base. Usually the single base I would expect to try and stall. So going for the capture here is definitely the way to go. I'd probably send that back to heal. This guy in the 7. The 9, that's fine. Then build another tank. Not sure if the tournament finals are round robin or not. Entered into mixed spam land. Javier could really use an artillery. Mix spam into artillery battlecopter, not the best. But this is Javier mechs, so the artillery will have to run from them when the powers are active. You can see how painful that overextension is. Like, this looks completely different if this tank attacked from here. It would be at 10 health Dude, this would be just like a full health tank. Go 10 health, smack, smack, and another tank like supports, and you wouldn't be capturing the city. You know. Just a whole new world. That's an okay trade. This tank didn't have great options of where to go. It's kind of just a 3 health tank for a 2 health tank. Still, you know, isn't in an overextension fight. So this guy has one target, is to kill this tank. So unfortunate that this tank doesn't cover either of these tanks. So Javier is just an amazing turn where tank hits here, tank hits here, tank hits here. This tank has no counterplay. Ooh, really nice blocking with the artillery here to get this city. How different are 2-hit KO thresholds for Javier and Von Bolt? Well, when Javier has a comm tower and Von Bolt has none, then it's, you know, they have the exact same. Basically, just like in Von Bolt mirrors, you will never get 2-hit KOs on cities, essentially, until like powers. Javier can do a KO with powers. I like Javier versus Sasha. I have no idea what that was. That's awful, awful play. This is all to try and stop the comm tower for Von Bolt. I guess it's with the Javier power active, so it'll be fairly durable to these incoming attacks. But it's way worse than just killing 3 tanks. I guess this is okay. I think I'd prefer to just double. Javier is indeed 30-30 right now. For this turn. If you're Javier, then you really like fighting Grit. Grit hates fighting you. Yeah, combat day to day for a turn. The problem with this is you have to stick around and hit it again. If you're gonna fire the artillery, then you should fire it first. Okay, it's not moving. So that's fine. Why do they fight so hard over comm towers? Probably because they see me doing it. I mean, comm towers are definitely impactful. You can make artillery versus Javier. You just have to accept that whenever the power is active, they're not going to be amazing. Surprised that this guy didn't come over and smack here. Yeah, usually Javier makes artillery because he's gonna win an artillery duel, of course. That one brave mech. Yeah. Go at 60% defense on the mountain. Yep. Or no, 70. I mean, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want that tank to stay there. I was surprised it did. Sasha versus Javier is a really fun matchup for both sides, right? Right? I mean, they can triple fire on this mech. It will go down. They can triple fire with like no repercussion. I guess they kind of only need to double fire. Oh, it turned evil. Ooh. Low Neo tank? Might be in preparation for the Vomble Super? Or just, I guess, a counter to them. Might just see some medium tank spam come out here. By mech. With the power, that would be a lot safer. I think you're invincible with a mech on the mountain with the normal power. Close to it. Yeah. Yeah. When the power is not active, you know, Javier has plus 20% defense against indirect units, which is pretty good. But indirect units do hit really hard. don't like this charging in here. I'd much rather attack here than here, so that I'm not unlocking another attack in my opponent's infantry. Like bringing another opponent into the game. Bumble's gonna build a Neo tank next turn. Or no, Bumble's not going to. I think Bumble wants to build one. Might not be calculated in pairs. He's on a silo. He could have been on a silo that's way better. What could go wrong? Oh, I see. Rip mech? Ooh. Wow, that's a gutsy buy. You take it back to is just as brave. That's a very gutsy buy because that rocket doesn't have much in the way of protection. So we might next turn see artillery join to build a Neo tank. So the Neo tank can cover the medium tank as it goes in. You often make rockets when you see 3 RDs. Yeah. Sadly, rockets to RD is not quite the same thing as medium tank to tank. 3 artillery absolutely dominate a rocket. Which I'm pretty sure you're aware of, so I think you're just making a reference. The artillery just get, they just get up close-ish to the rocket. Even if the rocket can hit one of them, then the other artillery will just kill the rocket. So what tends to happen is the artillery just kind of chase off the rocket. Except that the rockets also got worse movement. Sometimes they can just chase down the rocket. But usually it's just chase off. Rocket on city with tank backup. If it has a... It's not so bad. If 2 hit, it's down to 7. If it has a power active, then it's probably... Yeah, look at that. I mean, specifically it has to be in the city, but... see how this plays out. I probably would have joined artillery together to build a Neo tank and just been like, haha, I win this front. It is a little odd that Javier just jumped straight to rockets. You could base skip. Base skipping 2 infantry is just really painful to do. I mean, I just wouldn't have repaired the tank. Is what I would have done. Now we do still have, infantry kills infantry. Tank just moves here, kills this infantry off, and tank hits medium tank. I think so. Not if Javier uses it. But that play, I think, is a little short-sighted. It might be what we see Javier go for, but the problem is it's going to run right into a Bumbles. This is what we call a free-ish attack. It's or free in quotation marks. Bow tie back on. Aha! Nothing here can punish me, but now the anti-air is not dealing with this copter. So, kind of having to give up some positional play in order to 5 damage. Well, you kind of have to attack the medium tank at this point. Otherwise, you just gave up a whole tank for a 3-element tank. Fighter. This would have been an amazing play. Javier just made a small mistake. This infantry needed to go here, and then these two come over. It might still be okay. I think you can bring both of these over and then build an infantry, and then that will be a magnet. Stop the Neo tank from being hit. Oh no, the infantry are walking away. Fighters to clear by. Definitely not clear to me. It would be clear to me if it was used as a magnet. If it's not being used as a magnet, then it's big question marks. Why sacrifice the medium? Oh my god, what are you doing? Don't pop the super. So right now the super's gonna hit here. Yeah, kill the Neo tank. Okay, at least it got knocked down to 2. So now the super won't land here. It'll hit the fighter. Yeah, I guess fine. It almost hits the rocket. Fighter. Really should have done other stuff. Then pop the super, and then you could kill the Neo tank without having like losing a medium tank and taking 5 health on this. Like, I'm only 1600 yellow. It's true. Are we not gonna have? All right. Well, I guess at this point, it's kind of like why even bother using the Von Bolt super? It's just gonna hit a fighter. Can't believe this tank got away unpunished. Is the other thing you can do is you can just hit this with the super and then kill it on the following turn when there isn't a Javier power. Spider Bite is so questionable. So it looks really scary here, but the copters can just run to a base. Oh, I don't know, like this one, as it builds an anti-air, and then the fighter can't do anything. I mean, I guess it can still be a really good blocker. I don't know why Javier got the fighter. I guess it was the fastest way of dealing with the copters, but it did inadvertently, I think, stop Von Bolt from using the super, even though it wasn't set up as a magnet initially. You could also use super and pop and build an anti-air and kill it. That's awesome. Although probably not actually, because this is 2 health on a Neo tank and then something big might get built here. So unless a tank gets built over here, we're about to see this rocket get absolutely bullied by artillery. I think got built, so I can't. Well, I'm assuming we'll see where this tank moves. Right now the super hits here. The tank didn't. The tank didn't move. So right now the super hits over here. Right there. So I don't know why these guys are going in for these attacks. The 6 health tank here has literally no better choice than to move on to the city and kill. But I would also advise that usually the best course of action with the Bomb Bolt Super is you attack the units that aren't stunned, so that you kill off all the guards for these ones, and on the next turn you can just kill them off because they have no more support. I agree. Killing the tank and having the super hit here is definitely better. Then you could also bring in both artilleries and try and kill the rockets. But this isn't bad. I mean, you do kill the fighter. Well, I guess it'll probably live at like 1. Yeah, the triple RD band, the triple RD party, they broke up. Yeah, Bumble had a lot of stuff to move over to the middle. Rockets didn't work. Neither of these artillery are actually guarding these cities. So, weirdly, Javier can just take both of these for free. I guess this one not quite this thing. The rocket can cover, so still essentially a double cap. Power of the lone base. Look at that. A little weird to go for this cap and then run away with the vehicles. Okay, the tank's coming over the hill. I don't think they'll feel bad. have a return Neotank double beast. That killed the fighter. And thus was the very last fighter that Darnell ever built. We play games when you have a turn advantage? What's going on? Is there some beef between you two? Crushed you in a Kindle mirror? I assume there was a turn advantage going on. You were in deep trouble by day 5? That's some early deep trouble. One of those Kindle only maps. That sounds like one of those maps where one player gets to a specific property earlier than another player. You rated that map 10 out of 10. Ooh. Bomb bolt floating 8K. That indeed happened. We could team it. Rocket's getting mighty gutsy. Fine, it's out of tank range, it's fine. The base lock seems really bad. Like, where do you stand? Or the city? You're pretty much stuck out in the open. Well, it had friends. They went home. They went home early. Rocket is counting so hard on having a Javier power next turn. for walls. I don't know whether it's better to focus on the center, the HQ, or the sides because more properties. I would say the sides. The rain wash it away was the map. And before Dark Raider sends that in. The mech did, yeah, the mech, you know, it tried. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. I guess Bumble's gonna try and push the center. It's just like, I can't deal with this rocket. Everybody leave. I mean, so far it kind of looks like we might see the strong side flip, which would be very funny. There does seem to be some sort of threat on the HQ. Unfortunately, it's only with injured infantry currently. And Von Bolt doesn't have a super. Recon. I mean, we might see the space fall. Javier is definitely very low on units. I'm not sure if Vomble can get this HQ. I think it's holdable. We might see a rocket built here, or even better, a pipe runner. Okay, the rocket is locking the base. I mean, I think it's super dead if the army just moves this way. You think it's a... Nah, that rocket's not overextended. Look at it. It's fine. It's you know, yeah, the weak side has base locked the strong side. You saw once again, they saw your prediction. They were like, no. Not only is that wrong, it's super wrong. Yeah, that looks kind of painful. Ooh, we put the rocket here. That takes 2 turns to get into a position where it covers the... I guess it's, if you build it here now, he just gets to jump by copter. I would just not build it yet, personally. I'm sure this Neo will protect this. It's fine. It's always been fine. Oh, never mind. Oh no, it is. It is. Yeah, it's covered. I mean, I think the HQ cap has to start this turn. Well, I guess it doesn't have to. It could also just move the whole army over to the left and try and punish this overextension. It's true, there's one over here. It's true, there are more costumes. It's okay, I'm also very bad at counting. Quite sure why this guy went through. Probably hit this tank. You hit Neo? This is a 3-turn capture threat. That's, gosh. Yeah. I mean, a 3-turn capture threat is still pretty scary. I'm not currently a math teacher, no. I am not a math teacher yet. I currently work in special education. But I was a math major. I have a bachelor's. I teach math asterisk. That's fair. Sometimes math is involved. Rocket Buy is so sad it doesn't make it to the HQ in time. Think it'll be a pipe runner or a rocket built here? This definitely would have been happier as an anti-air. I can't deny that. I've almost saved 15k. Go for the mega tank buy here. Yeah, Javier's Has successfully killed but not stood upon the base. I'm not sure why the anti-air went for the 7 health. I think a pipe runner would be very fun. I guess just a rocket's probably fine. But look, a pipe runner's slightly more durable. I don't like this Neo tank placement. Neo tank didn't have an attack before, and now it. We're going with bomber. But the bomber doesn't even reach the HQ. What? It was pipe runner. Pipe runner was the only option. This rocket was also an option. I feel like, well, rocket's probably better just because it's cheap. Clutch 1 HP tank there. Saves the anti-air's life. A pipe stander, nice. I think Bumble still gets it, even without the anti-air kill. Well, this kills this bomber plus Neo kills Neo. And then I guess infantry will be what's left to go for the strike. But I don't think a 7 health infantry will be able to do full damage. Oh, the anti-air can actually get tagged. Neo hits Neo. Tank hits tank. They're hitting a tank. Really hit this. I feel like 100% of the time. You don't really care if the rocket hits you, because you just get your Bumble Super. Ooh. Do we not get the kill here? Interesting. Saves the anti-air. Oh, wow. Well, not hitting this Neo Tank is a big mistake. Now this can be interrupted. Although I don't know if it can be permanently interrupted. And now we have the breakthrough. What's this? 8-health Neo Tank. Hit. It will definitely do enough damage. Oh, true. This Neo Tank. Well, the Neo Tank doesn't one-shot this, right? I guess you can go Neo Tank tank. Yeah, this breaks this. Yeah, there's lots of options now. Yeah, without power, it doesn't kill. There's our Mega Tank and a Decopter. Bomber Boy. Now the problem that Javier is about to have is that the Von Bolt Super is going to land here, guaranteed. And when it does that, the units that are trying to save the HQ will all be stunned and blocking it, and they will also not be able to attack. We're gonna have to build a rocket here, I guess? Or does that even work? Yeah, it should be. Bolt will stun his capping infantry. Only in the cartridge. The attack makes no sense. This attack also made no sense. It's just giving Bolt more charge. Although I don't think he's going to have any charge problems when he's got Neo Tank on Neo Tank strikes and stuff like that. Yeah, in the cartridge, Bolt hits himself. Durnell has resigned over. Look how even these those deaths are. They're so even, but oh my god, the unit count? That's all from copters. Because Durnell never built a copter. Like, Advance Wars by Web is purists and then also not purists. You know, they're weird like that. The GG, that was definitely a good game. I hope everyone enjoyed. That'll be the end of our chill stream. I'll be back tomorrow though. Have an apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Thanks for the stream. Thanks for watching.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that's his thing.